One of the most important parts about making a speech is your audience. Knowing your audience, who they are, and what will catch their attention. I found that all the people in my class were CCU students, and so they all had a religious background. I also found out from the impromptu speech that they all had kids. So they gave me thousands of topics to get to. One important thing about making a speech is an outline. Having an outline helps you to organize your thoughts, make your things flow, and so that you have a beginning and an end, and you try to get your points across. So very important. And doing your outline, you need to do research. You need to have credible resources, like CCU Library, for instance. Excellent, credible resources. Also, you can go online and find different things as well, but CCU credible resources are not questioned, so it was a very good thing to do. Another good thing is it builds confidence. You have confidence in your knowledge, and you're reading on it, and you're becoming an authority on stuff, so it's like you're not speaking out of line. And it's like you know what you're talking about, you know what's going on. Then, of course, is practice. Sal now talks a lot about practice, and it's like it was very, very well pointed out the fact that practice, practice, practice. And you needed to practice. And after you got done practicing, you should probably practice it again. Very, very, very strong point that was made there. And I like that. And it was like, and it makes me feel good. It gives you confidence, and you make fewer mistakes. I took the opportunity to watch Tom Brokaw, President Clinton, and also Lawrence Welk. All very elegant men, elegant speaking styles. Even their movements were just fluid and smooth, and how they talked. And I did a critical ear listening. And when I did that, I found that they too make mistakes. But they were so smooth and polished in how they did it, it didn't even faze them. It was like bam, bam, and they were through it, and just, they didn't look back. They just kept on going. So at that point in time, I looked out keynote speakers. I was like, I like to be a keynote speaker. Nothing was said about it in Sal now. Well, come to find out, people like Jimmy Carter, who has profound knowledge and won the Nobel Peace Prize, was a keynote speaker. I actually looked up the definition of keynote speaker, and it said a quartet singing a song. And what it is a note, and then they would all sing on the note, keynote. Well, I want to be a keynote speaker. And I got to thinking about it. I am a keynote speaker. I'm an authority. And I like that. And I was like, you know what? Here it is. And here I am, and I'm going to do it. My first speech I made was an informational speech. I thought it went pretty well. I talked about Abraham and the covenant, and everything went pretty smooth. The ending, which I was worried about because I don't sing very well, but I thought I'd make an impact with it, and I think it did, because now they think of the song and they think about Abraham's covenant. The things that went wrong, I tried memorizing it at that point in time, being pretty not so good at it, but it's like I kept grasping for things, and I said ums and ahs a lot, which my son then pointed out to me later. He says, Dad, you kind of sound stupid by doing and ah. It's like, it just doesn't sound right. You should not do that. And so I agreed with him. So I'm trying very hard to be very careful of that. My next speech I made was a demonstration speech. I demonstrated how to pray. Get down on your knees, lay on your back, where to pray, churches, lighting candles and such, these kind of things. And it went off pretty good, and I made a mistake, and when I talked about it, I reversed some of my points, but nobody seemed to notice because it flowed right through it, and I went right straight ahead. One thing I did do, though, was I drank coffee quite a bit before the speech. It made my knees jittery, I was like shaky, made my kind of like, oh, made my mouth very dry. And I had noticed after that, all the speakers I've ever seen on TV and stuff like that, they all had this. A little bit of water. So I think that was a very, very important lesson I learned right there. My next speech I made, which I think was my best one, was my persuasion speech. I talked about Cub Scouts and the things that they could do, and I brought along clothes, toys. I wore a Cub Scout, my shirt, and I also had a PowerPoint. I incorporated all these things, and I practiced with all these things. And when I flipped over my girl's vest, and they seen the back of it, and they seen all these patches that she earned, I got this, whoa, and it made my confidence just soar. And I felt so good about it, and I continued on. Well, during that speech, I had a problem. My problem was my equipment failed me. And so then everything kind of stopped, and I had my instructor coming up here, professor was working on this and that and the other, and it's like tick, 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 my clock was going away, and it made me kind of nervous because my speech was on the long side anyway. But then I got to thinking, you know what? He's going to lose a little bit of track of that time, and maybe it's to my advantage. He'll give me a little bit of leeway, credit on that. So I added a little extra part at the end of the speech and told about a Cub Scout's good deed. And it was like, and it flew, and it was a good speech, and I felt very good about it. And I got lots of questions afterwards, and I was just pleased, 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 pleased. Dale Carnegie once said, there's 3 speeches that you make: the one you practice, the one you make, and the one you wish you would have made. I thought that was a very profound statement. In Exodus 4, verse 11, 12, God tells Moses, I will help you speak and teach you what to say. This was pretty profound for me, because it's like for my informational or for my persuasion speak, I was going to speak about saving souls. And once I got into the information about it and started reading all this material, it was like there was no way possible I could do God righteous in 7 minutes time and read all this information. There's like tons and tons. I couldn't even read through it in a week, let alone in a few days. And so I scratched that. And at that point in time, I went to Philippians 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, give your request to God. And by doing so, I was instilled to talk about the Scouts. I was like, yeah, and it was a subject I knew about, and as I did research, I found out things I didn't know before. And it was like, one was having separation and shame to change that into morals and values. And realizing that, not only by saving souls, but you're also changing a boy's life to live a righteous way and guidance in that way. And I didn't realize that before so much, but men need to be guided to live righteous and in a correct life. So that was a very powerful point for me to learn. Also, it was like I figured, well, baptisms, marriages, there's all kinds of happy occasions. One thing did happen here a couple days ago. A friend of mine's dad passed away, and it was a very sad occasion, and I went up there and seen him. And here I'm sitting with him and his brother, and like, what do I do? You know what I say? And the words came to me. And the words, and it's just like Moses said or God said to Moses, I will teach you what to say. And here it went. It's like, celebrate the man's life. He lived a good life. He ran the good race. And he put the word of God on your heart. And he knew this day was going to come. And the reason he put that word on your heart is so that when your time comes, you can join him in heaven. And this is where the ultimate victory is. And I thought that was so cool to say that. And it was like, God did this. It wasn't me. And I was able to express that. There was one other thing I would like to get across, and this is a goal of mine. And this is to use my abilities. I want to go to prisons, and I want to tell these people of hope and that there's people that care about them. Maybe I can set them up with housing, jobs, places to worship. Anything I can do to make their lives better and stay on the straight and narrow and give their lives to God, which I think is so vitally important. Thank you so very much for your time.